This is ToDaPoint podcast. My name is Aurel and I'm a social worker and life coach with a huge passion for nutrition and fitness. So this podcast is about lifestyle, fitness and self-development in all areas of life to help you get in shape mentally and physically. So I strive to be as authentic as possible, and I believe the best way to do that is to talk about things that I have personally experienced. However, just like you, I'm still learning and I'm still improving. So from time to time, we will be having experts and like-minded people on this show to discuss certain topics. So I truly hope that the message I'm sharing inspires and motivates you to improve your life. Now let's get to the point. So today's episode is about why we procrastinate and how to overcome this. Now let me ask you this. Does this sound familiar to you? The night before you go to bed, you make a list of all the things you're going to do the next day, and you're convinced that tomorrow you're going to tackle everything off your list. And then you wake up and you ask yourself, what the hell was I thinking last night? I don't want to do all of these things. So you start finding small, meaningless things to do to give you the illusion that you're actually being productive. You've fallen prey to procrastination. Procrastination does not mean that you're lazy though. People who procrastinate have the desire to do something, but can't force themselves to get started. And this can prevent you from making the right decisions and living the life you want. Do this too often and life will pass you by. Studies have shown that we feel more regret for things we haven't done than things we have. Feelings of regret and missed opportunities tend to linger on much longer, and this can lead to anxiety and depression. And it's a messed up vicious circle to get out of, because you have negative feelings and start procrastinating, which leads to feeling down or anxious, which then again can lead to procrastination. So why is it that we procrastinate? There are many reasons why we put certain things off even though we know it's important to do them. So for example, someone can have decision paralysis. This is basically when you have so many options to choose from that you choose something you don't actually want, or you just don't choose at all. And the more options to choose from, the higher the stress level and the harder it becomes to decide. Or we're just simply ignoring the value of time, thinking we have all the time in the world. We are here on this planet for a short period of time, so time is our most valuable commodity. Money you can get back, but you can't do that with time. Every wasted second is gone forever. Another reason for putting things off is the lack of discipline. Discipline, simply put, is when you order yourself to do something and you actually do it. When you have discipline, you actually have self-control. It's like a muscle. And the more you practice self-control, the stronger it gets. If you don't have discipline, you find it hard to keep your word to yourself. Now, this is not a main cause for procrastination, but it's an important reason for it. To have discipline, you need to have the right type of motivation, especially intrinsic motivation. So there are two primary types of motivation. You have the intrinsic, like I said before, and the extrinsic. The former means that the reason why you're doing something is coming from within. So for example, you're curious about a certain topic and you want to learn more about that. There's a strong desire to complete a task. Extrinsic means that the motivation to do something is coming from outside. For example, working a job you don't really like, but because it pays well, you do it anyway. And the last common reason for putting things off is the fear of failure. And this can mean that the person that procrastinates has a low self-esteem, or the task is so important to them that they don't want to mess up, so that's why they don't start at all. Now, this was a big one for me. I used to procrastinate all the time. School projects, starting podcasts, starting a YouTube channel. Everything I thought was too difficult for me to do or too important, I would just ignore because I thought that if I mess it up, I wasn't able to fix it and try again. In the end, it made it so much worse, of course, because it made me miss out on different opportunities. So if you're struggling to get started, I need you to address this issue as soon as possible, because this can save you so much time. And remember that it's better to try and fail than it is to look back at all the missed opportunities wishing you had gone for it back then. Now, what can we do to minimize procrastination? It starts with awareness. Pay attention to what you're feeling. Maybe it's resistance, anxiety, whatever it is. And also pay attention to where you're feeling it in your body. Try writing down why you're feeling this way. Maybe it's too important to you and it paralyzes you, or you don't believe you got the skills to do it, or maybe it's just too big of a task. Then maybe it's time to break it down into smaller tasks you can do bit by bit. So another thing you can do to minimize procrastination is tell others about your goals. Now, I had to think about this for a second, whether or not I should mention this, but I realized that it depends on who you're going to tell about your goals. You need to tell the right people that are actually supporting you, people that can hold you accountable. This is where the part about your environment comes into play. When I started my weight loss journey, I told my friends about it. And I also hired a coach to keep me accountable, because I knew that every time I was thinking about messing up on my nutrition, I knew it had consequences. Another way to minimize procrastination is to hang out with people who inspire you to take action. So basically, surround yourself with like-minded people or a group, accountability group, because your environment influences how you act and how you become. And when you surround yourself with people who have low standards, it gives you a feeling of not having to do your best. You may see yourself as good enough because it seems like you're doing better than them. And I've heard this quote once. It was something like, if you're the smartest person in the room, then you're in the wrong room. Something like that. And basically it means that if you're doing better than other people around you, you will settle because you don't feel the urge to do better or be better than you already are. So if you surround yourself with people who are aiming for improvement, it should fuel you to achieve what they are achieving or more than that, because you feel like you're in competition, a good competition with them. Last but not least, I want to say, don't be afraid to ask for help. If you feel like you're stuck, you're really struggling with getting things done, maybe it's time to find a coach or a mentor that can actually help you look at what's really going on and help you find a solution for your problem. Asking for help is not weak. Asking for help is strong because you're accepting the fact that you can't do everything on your own. And sometimes just a little bit of help can make a huge difference in your life. So that's it for today's episode. If you enjoyed it, make sure you're subscribed so you're notified when there's a new upload. I upload every Wednesday. Also, leave a comment in the comment section down below and tell me why you procrastinate and if you found a way to overcome it. And don't forget to share this podcast with your friends and family. And thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope this episode provided you with the knowledge you were looking for so you keep improving. Until next time.